Anyone here for some Celeste? Hello? Well, I think it's about time we show off some Celeste then. The Celeste TAS of True Ending starts now. Take it away.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Lmjacks, and I'm joined by...
My name is Vamp.
I'm tmcalvins.
And I'm Noel.
Yeah, so me, Vamp, and Calvins are tasters of this game, and we're joined by Noel, one of the game's developers. So today we'll be showing you the Celeste True Ending TAS. And unlike most speedruns, this is a tool-assisted speedrun, so since we're the only one on the marathon, I'll briefly cover what that means for Celeste. We will, instead of playing the run normally, we have a pre-recorded set of inputs that was written out using many runs of trial and error, using frame advance, memory watch, and save states, tools like that, to get the theoretically perfect run. And yeah, let's demonstrate some basic speed tech before we get into it.
So with Celeste, the movement is very deep and mechanical. There's a lot of different tech you can do. So we have the three basic movements. We have dashes, jumps, and grabbing walls. If you cancel a dash with a jump, it does a little speedy jump. If you cancel a dash with a diagonal dash, cancel a diagonal dash with a jump, you get a hyper. Slightly more speed, slightly lower. And every time you dash, your hair turns blue. If you touch the ground, it turns red and we can dash again. So every time we downright dash and hit the ground, we get a 20% speed boost. We call these ultras. We can chain multiple of them together to get big speed. And the next thing you can do is if you dash into a wall and then jump at the top corner, we call these a corner boost. Since jumps give us speed boosts, these are very beneficial since we can get speed boosts at the top of every corner. And then if you cancel a up dash on a wall with a jump, we call these wall bounces. Generally the fastest way to move vertically.
And then one more thing to mention before we get into it is the speed boost from ultras persists through the duration of a dash if you're already on the ground, and that's called a grounded ultra.
And the last thing we have are demo dashes, also known as crouch dashes. Just another tool in our kit.
Yeah, and we can also do these upwards as well. And did you have one thing you wanted to mention as well, Calvin?
Just that when a dash ends, normally like with the grounded ultras, but also just in the air, you lose the speed from it.
Yeah, I think without any further ado, we can get into the run here.
That's everything.
Alrighty.
We get a countdown?
3, 2, 1.
Trans rights? So starting off in Prologue, we're doing a bunch of bunny hops and corner boosts respectively. Each little jump gives us a speed boost and saves 2 frames respectively.
Yeah, so especially on the long bridge coming up, you'll see we do a lot of bunny hops on flat ground. And then one other mechanic you're going to see in a few seconds here is called coyote time. We can jump a few frames after leaving the ground like so. Just a nice little leniency mechanic put into the game. And there are plenty of other mechanics just like that all over the place.
Remember to breathe.
Yeah, so right away in City here, you're going to see most of that tech that we talked about combined right away. So Celeste TASing is all about taking the shortest paths we can and preserving speed to the best we can. So right away, doing lots of hyper bunny hops, which is one thing we didn't mention. You can do a very short hyper and then immediately bunny hop to preserve both the speed of the hyper and the height of a normal jump. So Forsaken City being the first level in the game, this level has been optimized very, very significantly. There's really not much time save left. And then here is our first block boost. But we'll talk more about that later. Moving blocks are very powerful in this game.
In this next room, the tile reaches slightly outside of the spikes, so we can just jump off them right there. And that's City.
That was definitely fast.
So starting off in Old Site, you can see the first instance of delayed ultras where we cancel a downright dash with a corner boost, and the next time we land gives us an ultra. Very useful because it gives us a ultra without needing to worry about height.
Yeah, right away there, we can get a lot of speed into this third room. We'll see plenty more of those throughout the run, including in a few seconds. Additionally, coming up, we'll have a cutscene skip where Madeline is moved horizontally but not vertically, allowing us to stay inside that dream block there. And now we've activated the dream blocks. You want to talk about those, Vamp?
So these dream blocks, when you dash into them, you keep the same dash direction the entire way through. It's generally not very fast, so we try to avoid entering them as many times as possible. And here's Madeline. She's trying to chase us. She follows our every move, but it's generally not a problem.
Yeah, I think she stays about at least a second and a half behind, so it's easy enough to stay ahead of her here.
Do you have time for donations?
Absolutely. We have, if it wants to load, there we go. We have a $25 donation from Anonymous saying, amazing to see Vamp on the main stage for the first time. Looking forward to seeing the Celeste Seasides. Great job. Let's go.
Here you see a great example of avoiding dream blocks to stay above dash speed. And then coming down to the bottom here, we'll be heading into Awake, one of the most infamous sections for Celeste TASes. You'll see why very shortly.
Bonk.
Not capping her speed was a really good idea.
Yes, thank you for that, Noel.
And we begin by resort by doing another chained ultras. Another, chained ultra chain. Delayed ultra chain.
Then coming up with this key door, I mentioned earlier that when a dash ends on the ground, then you lose speed from it, but we get retained speed there, and then the door goes away, and we can then keep an ultra chain that we otherwise couldn't.
Yeah, we'll see plenty more of that on the other key doors in this level. We've got a few more keys to pick up here. You will see a few more berries collected throughout this run. Some of them are just happen to be in our way on the fastest path.
Coming along for a little trip. We hold it for a very long time. The moving platform is not marked as safe ground, so the berry does not collect.
Heading into huge mess here, we'll have our first deviation.
There was a clear instance of a grounded ultra. We enter the cutscene and then skip the cutscene. It sets our state to normal, and we can keep the speed from the grounded ultra.
Yeah, and here we split off from any percent for the first time because we need 4 crystal hearts to enter the core. So with this run being true ending, we need to beat core to unlock farewell. And this happens to be one of the fastest hearts in the game to collect. So we'll be playing this right section first instead of going down.
So after hitting the button, we backtrack. This is the path to the crystal heart. When we enter the heart room, our spawn point is set to the nearest spawn point from the screen transition. If we backtrack and enter the room the unintended direction, then our spawn point is set to the nearest spawn point, which is the higher section up here, which skips a couple of rooms of going back to huge mess.
Yeah, that enables this route through huge mess to be the fastest.
So that was our first demo dash. Those red spikes are called dust bunnies, and Madeline's crouching hitbox is only 4 pixels tall, while those spikes are only placed 4 pixels apart.
Yeah, that coincidence is very nice and will be used throughout the run. It can also be used with actually just crouch jumps, so not even doing a dash through this gaps and the hazards there, just doing a precise jump as well. That will be coming up in the next section. Yeah, that's all 3 huge mess buttons done. We're heading into elevator shaft here. Building up a little bit of speed there.
People have tried their hardest to skip huge mess. Generally, Celeste is pretty well coded. Shoutouts to the developers.
There's a crouch jump and another demo dash through spikes. And another demo dash.
So now Mr. Oshiro, the hotel owner, is quite angry at us, and he's going to dash at us to tell us about it. We want to stay as far away from him as possible, not just because he's dangerous, but because he slows down the game when we're near him, but not the in-game timer.
This is a fun room right here.
That's awesome.
Thankfully, we can avoid that Oshiro slowdown mostly by just beating him out of rooms.
Yeah, we're pretty fast.
And that's a 320 resort with the heart.
So starting off Golden Ridge, we have 3 new mechanics: wind, cloud, and green boosters. We will see blue clouds in this first room. We jump off them twice to get a lot of speed and a lot of height simultaneously. In the next room, we have some water where we can jump every single frame, gain lots of speed. For the first 2 tiles near the top of water, it's considered ground and you can jump every single frame as you exit.
I didn't know that.
Heading into Shrine here, we'll be collecting our second heart. So off to the right here is the Crystal Heart and Foray. You're meant to stand on this white block, but we can ignore that and just go right up the side here and collect the heart from the left.
First try.
Starting the next checkpoint ultra, we'll start seeing some stronger winds here, and you'll really see the power of delayed ultras to even lose time before a screen transition to set up for entering a room with more speed like this, and that allows for skipping puzzles. That'll come up in the next room as well.
Right here.
Yeah, getting that 1.2 times speed boost after landing really makes for a pretty powerful technique.
Now this room is called Second Blockless. We use the block actually to get a bit multi-boost.
That was super awesome.
All right, now the strongest wind of Golden Ridge. Here we are in Cliff Face. Some silly stuff happening in this room, and now you're not going to want to look away. These next few rooms are pretty crazy. Long horizontal sections are awesome for building speed and doing great ultra chains like that.
So if wind pushes us into spikes, we can jump before the death check happens. We can stand on ground right here in hyper.
So coming up into Temple, we're going to run into some blocks that move when you dash. We want to get on the back of one of these and perform another multi-boost like you saw in City earlier. This works because there's leniency where you can get the boost up to 10 frames after the block stops moving, and that stacks.
So after we go through this next room with the key door, we enter higher to skip the cutscene and reserve our Y coordinate to start up by the button.
Yeah, and then we've got
All
another...
right, say it with me. Yeet. Now we're going off the beaten path here to first off get the cassette so we can play 5B. And as we play 5B, there is a crystal heart at the end.
Yeah, so not only is this chapter faster than completing 5A, it also gives us a heart. And then in here, you will see us doing extra weight dashes. That's because the dash has a few freeze frames associated where the in-game timer does not run. There we go. We got the cassette to play 5B, and we'll be quitting out to go into that chapter.
It's still wild to me that beating like the B chapter unlocks the next chapter.
Yeah.
You didn't test that?
No. I think we just never, ever tested that.
It's a cool exploit for any percent runs and also very useful for this category.
I think we just never assumed that the B-sides would be faster. So we never even tried.
Got an awesome boost coming up in the next room here. This is one of the rooms in the game, one of the very few that is actually slower on the most recent patch. We cannot snap down to spikes there and we actually lose a cycle because of it.
Sorry.
Don't worry, we save that time in the next room.
Very silly corner boost chain coming up here.
Staircase.
Head into the next section here, we're going to see some Seekers. Do you want to talk about them, Calvin?
Yeah, so Seekers are pretty drastically wild for real-time play, but they are deterministic. If you do the same inputs, to get the same results. The main thing we do with them is get them to dash into walls, and then they'll be stunned, which lets us bounce off of them and get pretty funky boosts.
So coming up into Theo, we can grab him to cancel a grounded ultra. So generally, we set up a reverse hyper into a grounded ultra to grab Theo, and that's the main way of gaining speed.
And here we got those funky Seeker bumps that Calvin was talking about. Here, this is an instance of jump timer abuse where the spring boost actually persists through catching Theo. You can get a weird looking bounce, and that room is definitely impossible.
Yeah.
And that's 5B.
All right, so coming up into Reflection is our first instance of spinner stunning. This is a glitch that will allow us to go through spinners, which are very similar to the Dust Bunnies in Resort. The spinners decide they should load in when they are near enough to both the player and the camera, but they only check if they should load in once every 3 frames. And if you pause as they try to load in, the timer will advance, but they won't load in, and that delays the check by another 3 frames. You can repeat that pausing over and over to go through spikes.
So as we were pausing, we hold the journal key.
Spikes truly are just a suggestion.
That's so good.
So as we're pausing, we're holding the journal key, so you cannot see the pause menu as we're pausing.
Oh, this is a fun little multi-boost here using the Kevin and the walls entering the room. And now we're going to play 6B for our 4th heart and also unlocking the summit faster than completing 6A.
So these blocks are called Kevins because the sound designer for the game voiced them, Kevin.
Worth noting that stunning will only be able to affect 1/3 of spinners at a time. They all have random offsets, so sometimes we have to take a weird path through, and sometimes we just can't stun through at all.
That was supposed to be an optimization that was just making spinners faster, and I never thought that it would make it so you could teleport through them.
And stunning also, because there's so much time spent pausing, the game runs like 7 times slower, so it needs to save a lot of time, which it definitely does in this room. Here we skip about a 10-second long backtrack and can complete that room much faster.
How recently was that discovered?
It was found on Christmas Day, and everybody was thrown into a scramble.
Yeah, so only about 6 months ago. This would be a good point for donations, kind of just falling through 6B here.
You got it. Well, speaking of, we have a $500 donation from Kevin.
Let's go.
That's right. Kevin at Power Up Audio here to say, you can do it, TAS. Just breathe. Believe in yourself. Be proud of your death count. The more you die, the more you're learning. Keep going.
Yeah, TAS died 2 times, and that was in Resort.
Time for one more?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, because we have a $1,500 donation from Back at 50 Feet for Saint 11 and the whole Celeste team. Thanks for upgrading our lives.
Alrighty, and now we're entering the battle line fight here, so we can see we've got sort of a bunch of mini rooms in each room here with the battle line orbs resetting both speed and position. We're sort of just a game of getting to the next one as fast as we can.
So every time we enter these feathers, we are exiting on a diagonal direction, which gives us a little slight speed boost. We want to begin every feather like that as its most optimal way of gaining speed. So right here, we're doing a diagonal boost.
This room, it's possible to skip most of these coins using the lower death plane in 1.4, the newest update.
We got one more spinner stun in this checkpoint.
And then coming up in Reprieve, we're going to get our dash back off of this Kevin with spikes on top. Those spikes move 1 frame behind the moving object.
And there's a nice crouch jump through spinners with a couple delayed ultras to set up the speed for it. Should have time for a couple more donations here.
Absolutely. Want to remind everybody as well, we still need to get the upgrade to level 1 mode for Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. 11,743 out of 30,000. Keep getting your donations in. We're so close. As well, we have a $500 donation from Amduzius for the game that helped me internalize that I too can be a cute girl, and I don't even have to race my shadow self up a mountain. Thanks to Maddie, Lena, and everyone else at EXOK for my favorite game of the last decade, Trans Rights. Time for one more?
Sure. Yeah,
All right.
Summit here.
Absolutely. We have a $1,000 donation from Cheesy Pie. Just want to remind every single person watching right now that you are worthy of love. Even you, person who just said she doesn't mean me. Big love to the Celeste community, and can I get a trans rights?
Trans rights.
At the end of Reflection, we reconciled with Battlein, so now we leveled up and have 2 dashes. As we got thrown down the mountain, now we're climbing back up, doing a remix of every section of the main chapters.
Yeah, and you'll see at the end of each of these checkpoints, we've got a series of battle line orb throws. These are unskippable here. We do have to take each one before we can progress to the next checkpoint. Entering 500 meters, we'll have the remix of Forsaken City. Lots of zippers and spikes. This would be another good spot for a donation or two before the end of this checkpoint.
Oh, we have plenty of love for Celeste here. $25 from Leora had to donate for Celeste. Happy Pride Month. It's fantastic to see so much love and support for the trans community. We also have $20 coming in from Catizer. The Celeste TASing community has grown so much in the last few years, and people like Vamp and Calvins have put an unbelievable amount of work into main game, so this showcase is so very deserved. Love y'all, and don't blink.
I worked on main game almost every single day of 2022.
Here in 1,000 meters, we'll be able to see some more Dream Block tech that we couldn't really show off in Old Site, namely a Dream Block Hyper. So with 2 dashes, we can actually Hyper Dash out of the end of Dream Blocks as they give Coyote time. And that's much more useful here because we have a second dash to use after doing that. Additionally, with that Coyote time, we can do double jumps. We've been using those all over the run, but that just allows for a little bit more speed exiting each block.
At the end of this room, we're going to see some more jump timer abuse. If we wall bounce into the Battlein orb, then the jump timer keeps us moving upwards, and we start the launch from a little bit higher, saves about 3 frames each time.
Demo dash abuse. We call them demo dashes because one of our community members, Demo Jameson, was the person who discovered them, and he's quite a beloved person.
Here's another berry for you.
Coming up here is a pretty recent routing change. Used to be faster to go in that bottom room, now it's faster to go up here.
This room coming up here is quite silly. We get very close to these dust bunnies on several occasions.
It looks like you just hit like every single one.
Coming up in 2000 here, we've got a reprise of Golden Ridge. I think this would be a good spot for some more donations.
You got it. We have $50 from SexRex. When I got the chance to play an early build, that's right, of Celeste at SGDQ 2016 right here in this hotel, I never could have predicted the way this community grew and the people it's introduced me to.
Thanks, Xbox.
Do some dash dances while we're waiting for this auto-scroller block to move upwards.
You can go ahead with another donation.
Absolutely. Amber Loves Archie donated $100. Happy I had the chance to pitch into this run, and we got another chance to show off just how crazy this TAS has become. Long live Archie.
Archie.
It cannot be overstated how much the level optimization has gone up in the last couple of years. It's been super exciting to see both the growth in the community and progress in the strats used. Here in 2,500 meters, we'll be going on the top route here, saves a little bit of time over the bubbles.
Coming up in this next room is our only instance of spinner stunning in Summit. Go right over that block with speed.
We'll have our last key of the run. Oh, yeah.
So we're waiting for this key door to unlock. We go backwards, gain up some speed. So we could stun these spinners in this room, and it's actually half a second slower, so it's not faster in every instance. Oh, door skip.
At the end of this last room, we're going to see a climb hop cancel. Seen a few of them before. Look out for a really tall, funky jump right here.
So when you hold up and grab on a wall, you climb hop on top into the wall. If you cancel that with a jump, you get the block boost and you get the velocity from that block at the same time.
And now that we're in 3,000 meters here, we're going to see a few different kinds of vertical wind. So first up, we've got downwind here. And this generally makes Madeline's hyper bunny hops and movement quite a bit more snappy. So this section is a lot of fun to TAS. Additionally, it allows for spike jumps off of the top of these jumps. As the wind pushes us into the spikes, we can just jump right off of them.
Can y'all count?
One more instance of that jump timer boost that Calvin's mentioned. You can see it really clearly there. She goes to the very top of the battle line.
Now, upwind is the opposite. It's very generally floaty, but it gives us a lot of opportunities to do demo dashes.
I think this is probably the highest concentration of demo dashes through spikes in the run.
Sadly, those spikes up there do not allow us to demo dash through. No 10. Not 9 either. No 8. 7. Yeah, what comes after 11? It's 7.
Oh, you missed battle in there.
Yeah, battle line's slow after screen transition, so we skip her to avoid a long cutscene there.
Comes the final stretch.
All right, let's hear it.
Don't die.
All right, and that is Celeste any percent.
With
So that's
2
not
hearts.
what we're here for. So coming up next will be the core. This is one of my favorite chapters in the TAS. It's been significantly improved recently. And right off the bat, we're going to notice a change to Celeste dash mechanics.
So when you enter core, you only get 2 dashes for every single room. The only way to refill our dash is with a screen transition or a dash refill crystal right there.
Yeah, so right away here, it's very important how these dashes are used. So improvements in core are often pretty large time saves. Like there you can see that speed chain. Getting one more boost on the door saves quite a bit of time over the next room. And then there is our first core block.
When you touch these core blocks, they go in a certain trajectory and then bounce back in the same trajectory that you touched them. We can generally optimize this to manipulate some multi-boost shenanigans. It can be done in several ways, but just know core block means big speed.
And we'll get to see that right away here.
And right here.
Yeah, with a couple new techniques of getting speed up core blocks, pretty much every single one can be used for speed now, as this whole section was broken wide open recently. And there's our first lava wall bounce.
So lavas have collision on the inside of them, and I guess the developers thought it would be too weird if you could phase right through them when you were invincible.
Yeah. Yeah.
This vertical section would be a good spot for a couple donations.
Absolutely. We received a $100 donation from Lena Rain. Thought you all would like that one. So much love for literally everyone in the Celeste fan community, whether you're a speedrunner, played at your own pace, or are just now seeing the game at GDQ. You're all amazing and continue to amaze me even 5+ years after release. Keep going fast or whatever pace you need, less than 3.
Celeste is such a great speed game. It's so easy to pick up, and there's a timer built into the game.
Oh, here we actually skipped this battle line orb because of the animation after landing again. That saves about 0.2 seconds.
So when the game is in ice mode, the ground has less friction, so we generally want to be sliding along the ground instead of in the air.
It has less air than air friction?
Yeah, so here we see you slide along the ground before bunny hopping, which is very atypical. And then there's a nice frontwards core block with boots, which allows for also skipping the first feather in this room.
Yeah, there's feathers in core for some reason.
Don't know how they got there.
This is one of my favorite uses of core block tech.
Don't blink. So, entering the final chapter, Farewell. For lore reasons, we have 2 dashes, but if we interact with this cutscene and press jump on the next frame, we begin flying. So right now we are waiting for Madeline to float through the air right now into the next screen. The next screen has an inventory trigger that resets Madeline dashes back to 1. We can circumvent that by pausing and going over this moon block, then dashing over the screen for the double dashes to preserve for most of the rest of the level.
Yeah, so I've got 2 dashes here, which is not intended, and breaks most of these screens wide open. This saves almost a minute over the course of the level. This is, of course, Farewell, the free DLC that was added in 2019, I believe. And yeah, this is the last level to run. Hope you enjoy. We've seen some new mechanics already introduced. We've got these puffer fish, which act similarly to the bumpers in Chapter 6, but you can also bop them to move them down.
And with our double dashes, we have already made up the time lost from waiting to float through the air using the cutscene.
We also see lightning, another hazard. It can be stunned in the same way as spinners, and with lightning you can actually tell when it's stunned because you won't be able to see the dim yellow box inside.
Yeah, so right there we stun 1 block of lightning to go through and keep speed all the way to here.
Wow, that's wild.
And we actually got so much speed there we need to just slow down for the last room there.
So with our double dashes, we don't need to take a jellyfish with us to get to the power source power box. Do some stunning right here to get past the spike tunnel. And there's some screens on the right that allow us to get to the next section. These rooms are specifically made for speedrunners. Orb.
And now we're in Remembered. Here you can see the power of having 2 dashes for vertical movement. Generally we can just do a lot more up dashes and skip sections of these rooms. Saves a lot of time in this section.
So Farewell uses moon blocks, which are slightly floaty versions of foreground tiles. Do you want to explain what we call moon spring boosts?
Sure. So we'll see one of those coming up pretty soon. You can hit the spring once and the block moves back. Hit the spring again, the block instantly snaps forward and gives you lift boost.
I'll keep an eye out for this speed, by the way.
We're going to use that lift boost to get a lot of speed and stun through some spinners to skip quite a bit of gameplay here.
All right, now we're into Event Horizon. This would be a good time for a few donations, I think.
Absolutely. We have $25 from Sunrise the Moth. Donating for my girls Madeline and Madeline. Trans Rights Achievement unlocks double jump. We also have $20 from Celeste. I've been tasked with telling you about how amazing SGDQ is and how hype we are for Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, which is currently just shy of 14K out of the necessary 30K. Keep them coming. I know we can get it done.
It's been an honor. So coming up into a couple of rooms, we're going to deviate past the auto-scroller block to touch on these things we call binoculars, which lets you see the rest of the screen. When you interact with these binoculars, it sets an internal flag where if you exit the room, your state is set back to normal. We call this bino interaction storage. We can use that to exit the room and cancel a grounded ultra. So we touch the bino, jump on the next frame, and it's canceled.
I still don't get that. I don't know what's happening.
We can cancel the grounded ultra and keep speed a little bit further. And then here we've got a pretty infamous room. This is the last room of Event Horizon, and there's an Easter egg actually off to the right here, but we can use it to get out of bounds with this Kevin, and then build up a ton of speed, and entirely skip the next room.
Don't even need to stun.
That Bino is just for swag, it doesn't do anything.
We're just waiting.
I'm curious to see the one room with core blocks in this level, I believe.
So coming up after this next room, the developers did a nod to the community and added a room specifically for demo dashes.
And we use them again right here.
This spike up is really precise, can't really elaborate.
We come up here to interact with this Bino yet again. That's more important because you use it into the next room to skip some touch switches.
Yeah, with canceling the grounded ultra here, we can get enough speed to crouch jump through those spinners and then completely skip the coins in this room and go straight to the end.
More spinner stunning.
All right, and with the end of determination approaching swiftly here, we will actually be losing our second dash. So there's an unavoidable cutscene here that we need to take up into stubbornness, which does reset our inventory back to 1 dashes. But not before a little bit more speed.
So in stubbornness, we're going to make use of dashing as much as possible to advance the cassette cycle and wait certain times in certain rooms to set up a optimal cycle into the next room.
This section has been rerouted quite a few times. It's a very complex section to TAS with sort of semi-global cycles. This is definitely one of the more complex portions of the run.
And we touch this Bino right here for any other grounded ultra cancel as we exit the room. Nice 1 cycle.
Yeah, this cycle saves so much time.
And that's stubbornness.
Yeah, now we're into reconciliation. So unlike Summit, the birds and battle line orbs in this section are skippable, thankfully. It's a very nice change, I think. Makes the section flow really well.
So these little white barriers, we cannot take these jellyfish through them. So as we ditch the jellyfish, we throw it backwards. It's slightly equivalent to what a corner boost gives us more speed. At the end of each room, we have these lightning boxes that we have to break to advance to the next room.
I think the next couple rooms here would be a good spot for a donation.
Oh, they are just pouring in, y'all. $200 from All-in-One Mighty. Watching Celeste reminds me how much this game has impacted my life and taught me to believe in myself and overcome difficulties. A true, genuine love to the devs, the artists, and the composer of this masterpiece. You are legends. Also $250 from R. Combs saying hi from the crowd and from the Mario 64 TAS and console playback community. It's always amazing to see the work of these great groups showcased at GDQ.
Yeah, shout outs to the TASing community at large. TASers for all sorts of games make really cool stuff. Definitely recommend checking them out if you haven't already.
The Celeste TAS community in specific has exploded in the past 3 years. I attribute most of that to the pandemic, but it's been a lot of fun interacting with the community.
Got a very late coyote jump there to skip a battle line orb.
So in this next room, this jellyfish is important as we want to take it past the jellyfish barrier, and the way we circumvent that is by dashing over the top of the screen. So we're not supposed to have the jellyfish right now.
This will be a tool that is important to us later.
Very.
All right, with the jelly at the end of this room, we can now take it to go back to this point.
We forgot something.
And build up just a little bit of speed and start clipping through all the hazards.
We are home free.
Get ready for time.
And that was the biggest screen in the room right there? I think so.
And that's
time.
That was ridiculous.
I think that's 5 minutes ahead of the RTA world record.
It's pretty fast. So this TAS has come down so much recently with the contributions from the Celeste TASing community at large. Huge shout outs to everyone who's provided inputs to that. And then a massive thank you to Demo Jameson, who has maintained the Celeste TASing tools for a couple years now, continuously providing updates and quality of life. Definitely could not have done this without you.
It's great to thank Noel and Maddie for making such a great speed game. There's no RNG. It's very easy to pick up, and the mechanics are surprisingly deep for just jumping, dashing, and grabbing.
Thanks.
Also worth mentioning that this would be a great time to get into Celeste TASing, as there was just recently a very large community mod pack release called Strawberry Jam. And the TAS project for that is well underway, but it would be a great place to jump in.
Yeah, definitely check out Strawberry Jam.
Yeah, great mod pack. A ton of people put a lot of work into that one. And yeah, I think we will briefly cut away here and then return with the All Seasides incentive. All right, so you guys donated to make this happen. So this will be a quick run through of Celeste Seaside, which are short renditions of each level in the game. This will be jam-packed, about 4 minutes long. Hope you like it.
Anything else?
I don't
I
think
think
so.
we're ready.
Alrighty, you want to count us down?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So starting in Prologue, we go to the very first screen and enter a cheat code so we can unlock all of the levels straight away. So C-sides are very short renditions, very hard versions of the B-sides. They are only 3 screens long and generally less than 20 seconds, so keep an eye out.
I love the ending of this level on the right side.
It's great.
In 2C here, you'll see the introduction of grabbing out of dream blocks. Not super useful in other levels, but required here.
We can dash to the corner of that dream block and touch the dream block without touching the spikes.
Do it again here, and that lets us skip all the switches in this room.
That's 2C.
Headed into Resort, we get to see Oshiro one last time.
He's actually very useful for the end of the screen. You can upright dash and bonk him at the same time, get a big jump.
And then a nice multi-boost off that coin block.
So starting in the next auto-scroller room, we are going to interact with this Bino to get Bino interaction storage, and then spam grab on the wall to manipulate what we call subpixels. Nice crouch jump through spinners.
With the strong forward wind there, it's actually important to minimize the time spent in dashes since the wind does not affect you in dash state. And here we can get a bunch of speed off this block and the spinner stunning. We can keep it through much of the next room.
Whee!
This is the most improved Seaside recently.
Door skip too.
So in the last room of 6C, we're going to land on a Kevin inside some spikes in a weird way. That would not be possible unless we dash down diagonally into the water at the end of this room.
So yeah, that's a delayed ultra, a very delayed ultra, but it makes us crouch in the very first frame after we enter the Kevins.
And we're done.
Yeah. So cheat mode unlocks everything in the game, and that includes golden berries. There is a golden berry right here, which is in the way of the fastest path.
Don't die,
Golden.
Cat.
When you collect a golden berry, you have to reach the end of the level without dying, and if you die, you are sent back to the start of the level.
Worth noting that the first battle line orb there is skippable, the second one is not. Not sure what's up with that one, Noel.
Don't know what's going on at all.
Now this is our demo dash playground.
I love that corner boost.
And this should look familiar.
All right, and the last level we've got for you today is 8C. This was one of the first places where massive speed was added to the game, or added to the task, rather.
Really helps that the sandwich lava does not hurt us when we're fast like this.
All right, don't blink.
That's time.
There we go, and that is Celeste Seaside.
That was so good.
Thank you for making such a great game.
Thanks. I mean, thank you for the whole community for playing it and making amazing mods and tasking it and speedrunning it. It's like blown us away. Like we never thought that there'd be such a community and such like awesome people doing such awesome stuff with it. So it's really special.
There's people in our community who try tasking other games and then come running back because the tools for tasking Celeste are just so good and it spoiled us.
Yeah, that's not me. That's like shout out to the
Demo
community.
Jameson.
Yeah, who've made amazing tools.
And thanks, of course, to Games Done Quick for having us. It was super awesome to show off the culmination of the community's efforts on this project. Let's keep raising money for charity. Woo!
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jax. Let's give it up one more time for the Celeste TAS crew up here. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. That was incredible. Wow, wow. All right, y'all, I wanted to remind everybody, of course, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. It's coming up next. You can see it on the schedule, but we have a little bit of work to do to get to that upgrade for